second guest of our second season of Perspectives was Louise Fitzsimmons, and she's the owner of the award-winning White Wolf Yoga in Liverpool city centre. And she holds retreats. She's got her own YouTube channel for White Wolf, and she's doing some really interesting things around live streaming of yoga classes as well. She sat down to talk to us about that, growing her business, learning to be a yoga teacher, and a little bit about her vegan lifestyle as well. So it was a really good chat, and the added bonus, the fact that we had the wonderful Phoenix, our first non-human guest, sat on her lap, good as gold throughout the podcast. We hope you enjoy it.
Louise, welcome.
Thank you.
Phoenix, welcome, our first non-human guest.
Say hi.
Say hello, Phoenix. So, White Wolf Yoga.
Yep.
Smashing it on YouTube,
Yep.
retreats, and the studio as well. So, how did you get into that?
So sort of going back to the start, I began yoga probably when I was about 17, 18, something like that. And it was something that I was never really that keen on, you know, from an outsider looking in. It wasn't something that I thought, oh yeah, I really fancy that. But my mum started going in the local gym and asked me if I'd come along with her. So I started going with her, and to be honest, I wasn't blown away straight away. It wasn't something that just grabbed me, but I kept going as a mate with my mum. And then, I don't know, the weeks went by and maybe something kind of clicked, and it was from there that I really got into yoga. And then after that, I just kind of drifted. I've always been one of those people who's drifted from job to job since leaving school. I've never really settled at anything. I've given something a go and then got bored of it and then jumped onto something else. And I was kind of just doing that for a few years, but in the background, the yoga was becoming more and more a part of my life. And then I think I got to a bit of a crossroads when one job had ended and I didn't have anything else lined up, and I was chatting and with family and friends, like, what am I going to do? And someone said, you know, if you could do anything in the world, what would it be? And I said, well, a yoga instructor. But I had all these mental blockages in my head thinking, I can't do that, because I'd had a little Google of it, and it was like, you have to go and study in India and it costs this much and you've got to put this much time into it. And I thought, I kind of thought I can't do that. But chatting to people kind of gave me the confidence. They're like, you know, why not? You know, my mum and dad said they'd support me with it, and with everyone's backing, I went for it, and then started the teacher training journey from there, really.
So did you go to India then? What does that entail?
So when you qualify as a teacher, there's a couple of different courses that you can do, a couple of different schools. British Wheeler Yoga is a big one, and Yoga Alliance. Anyway, I went down the Yoga Alliance route, and the courses tend to be 200 hour, and then you're qualified, and then there's a 300 hour one after that if you want for like an extra qualification. So I did the first 200 hours in Liverpool, and it was with the school, the Banyan Tree School of Yoga, they were great. It was a course that was over about 9 or 10 months, I think, every other weekend. And I did that, and I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like blown away by it. It was just like, yeah, that was good. It's deepened me knowledge, and that was sort of it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go and teach from that, but I did anyway. I started a little class above the Merchant, what used to be Mellow Mellow.
Oh yeah.
They had a room, like a dance studio at the top, and it was cheap enough to rent, and me and a friend, we'd just lost my granddad and her nan of dementia, like that, around that time, and she was like, why don't you just start up a little class, donation based, friends and family, and then it'll give you a little bit of go teaching, see how you feel, and go from there. So that's what I did anyway. And I found that I did actually really enjoy the teaching, but I didn't feel that confident in my ability, really. So I knew that I wanted to go and do the extra qualification, and then that was where India came in, and I went over to Rishikesh, which is in the north of India, where it's kind of at the foothills of the Himalayas, where the Beatles went and got all spiritual.
Yeah.
It was there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went out there and for a couple of months, and that was when it just kind of took off in my mind anyway, and I was completely then fixed on, yeah, this is it, this is what I love, this is what I want to do.
Interesting.
Was that, do you think it was the point of difference in your life of making such a big step of going to India and investing yourself in like living out there for how long was it?
A couple of months it was.
Yeah.
I think if I'm honest again, it wasn't a place that I really wanted to go. I knew that I wanted to do this other qualification, but I was looking at other places. I was looking at Miami or something like that, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll go there. And then I saw the price for it. I was like, oh no, I can't go there. So I was looking where I could maybe afford, and this Rishikesh came up, and I just thought, I'll just go and do it, and it'll be 2 months, and then I'll be done. So I was kind of like leapfrogging over the experience, just thinking, just like get a box tick sort of, and then I'll have that knowledge. But I can't even, it's hard to even put into words like the experience that I got from being over there, the environment, the people living basically yoga and understanding it in a way that I never had before.
What does living yoga mean to someone who might not have practiced even? Yeah,
so you take yourself, when you go on one of those learning courses, you take yourself out of everyday life and you completely immerse into yoga. So you're getting up at 5:30 in the morning, doing like, it's called cleansing techniques, where you do all kinds of mad stuff like pour water up one nostril and then it comes out the other, and all these kind of things. Starting your day, you do 2-3 hours of yoga in the morning. Healthy eating as well, changing the way you eat. Yoga in the evening, philosophy work. Just completely being submerged in what yoga's all about. So meditation, breathing, and the physical practice, the postures. So yeah, it was just
very different from like normal life here.
Completely, yeah. And I think that was the difference in the course here in Liverpool, which it was brilliant and I did really love it. But you'd have your lunch break and you're on your phone, or you go and walk down Lark Lane, and this course there was no escaping it, and that was challenging at times, because I did feel like sometimes, oh, this is too much, but there's nowhere to go because you're there and you're in it and you get on with it. It was a absolutely crazy place as well, where we were like basic beyond belief, and turning up I was like, oh. But now it's, I think, up there with my favourite place in the whole world. It's magical.
So to learn it then, right, is it, because we've all seen the Bikram documentary, we'll talk about the negative parts of it later, but in terms of the way that it's taught, you talked about 200 hours and stuff, like, is that like a time served type thing? How is it actually taught to you to then teach on?
Okay, so you learn the theory of yoga, sort of like the history of it, how it started. You do a lot of anatomy work on the body so that you understand why you're doing certain things. If you're bringing people into positions, it's all right knowing a shape, but you've got to understand, okay, you're taking a triangle shape because you're opening the hip and the shoulder there, and you're strengthening that muscle and you're lengthening that limb. So you learn anatomy, the theory behind it. You deepen your own practice as well, so you get more and more into yoga and how it works for you. And then they also teach you what they did in the first one, like a basic sort of sequence to work from, so that you've got something and you can take it then and start teaching it.
Yeah.
You've got like
a framework that's ready
exactly.
made for you to come back and...
Yeah, so we all, after the first course, everyone on that class went away with, okay, this is where to start. You've got to warm up a little bit, balance a bit, warm down, and a relaxation, and then that's a good base to start, a good foundation, and then as you learn more you can switch it round and stuff like that.
So then will you just take, say you were talking before we started recording about YouTube and this very successful Yoga with Adrian and stuff, and some of the stuff that you're doing, so how do you sort of, I don't know whether that's the correct way, but sort of write a program where you think, okay, well, I'm going to make like a wake up yoga in the morning, it's going to be 10 minutes. How would you put something like that together?
So I suppose as you learn to teach, you start to understand what different poses are good for. Like, there'll be certain postures that are really energizing, there'll be some that are relaxing, There'll be some that focus on de-stressing the body. There'll be some that, you know, you can always tailor a class. So I know for a wake-up class, I'll do stuff that's going to draw more oxygen into the body. It's going to get the heart rate going. It's
blood
going
flowing
to,
and all that,
back bends are good energizing poses, so stick loads of them in. If I was doing an evening class, I'd do sort of the opposite. Start it slow, keep it gentle, do forward folds, because I know they relax the central nervous system rather than stimulate it. So you learn why you do different things, and then you can sort of like cherry pick what you want from all of those postures and stick it into a class that you think is going to work for whatever you want it to do.
Is it daunting looking at how obviously the growth of yoga is just exponential? It's getting big. It doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon, which is good. But is it a bit daunting when you look at a market in Liverpool and before you set up originally, like 2016 or before?
I think it was, yeah.
Back then there must have already been in town like a dozen yoga schools. Like, how do you establish points of difference, or how?
It's a tricky one. I don't think you can give too much attention to what anyone else is doing. I think it's great for the city that there's so many options, because as a client, you might try a few different studios, and one style might stick with you more than another, or one teacher might work for you more than another. So it's good to have the variety, and I think I try not to focus on what's going on out there, and just try and keep learning myself, try and keep improving what I'm doing, and just try and stay focused on White Wolf.
Yeah, but I meant, I suppose, as well as that initially, like, because you're thinking, just trust the fact that yoga's growing and it's always people are always going to be interested.
Yeah, I mean, I did, you know, the classes that started in Mellow, so they were just like for friends and family. That wasn't advertised or anything like that. When I came back from India, I think I went back to Mellow for a bit, but a few more dribs and drabs, people started coming in, and I thought, you know what, I'll upgrade this location and see if I can get in somewhere else and just see how it goes. And I didn't want to just go to like a church hall, you know, take the typical route. Yeah. So I was looking at kind of outside the box where I could do, and I don't know how I came to Camp and Furnace, but I got in Camp and Furnace and started a few classes there, and I had, I think, 3 classes a week, but their space was massive, and that was where I started White Wolf from, really. I went from just being Louise doing yoga in Mellow to, I thought, I'll think of a brand and put it up in Camp and Furnace, and that was where White Wolf started there. And then I got like a website, or did I? Or like a Facebook page, you know, started Instagram and things like that. Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't that long ago? Bebo.
Why White Wolf?
Well, I love killer whales, the animal, and I wanted the name to be something to do with them. I've loved them since I was a kid, and I saw Free Willy. And when I was trying to think of a name, I wanted it to be to do with them, so we've come up with a few different suggestions, and he had a blackfish, so you know the documentary that's blackfish is a Native American nickname for a killer whale, but they also have white wolf as well. It's a bit lesser known, but some Native American tribes who worship killer whales, they call them white wolves, and they say that the first killer whale was a white wolf that went into the ocean, transformed into a whale. And among like Native American tribes, they're revered and respected, and they're all about love, power and unity. And I thought that ties in really well with what yoga is all about. Yoga means unity and the power that you get from the practice, and again, just love and compassion. So I kind of felt that it fitted.
I feel like I love yoga, and I wish it did more, but I tend to go through like phases. Do you? Would you? Yeah. Where like, I suppose I like to think of myself as quite disciplined in terms of routine and training regularly and all that type of stuff. But I guess I don't know what it is with yoga, why I can't put my finger on why I can't stick to it. I don't know whether it's because of if you don't do it, if you don't stretch regularly, it is so difficult to do something. And you might just feel inadequate very quickly.
Yeah.
It's like the lad who's never lifted a weight in his life goes straight over, stands next to all the big lads in the gym. I suppose maybe it's a similar type of thing.
It can be quite an intimidating thing, and I think if you miss a few classes and you think, oh, I'm going to get back, that first class is going to be really hard, do I want to do it? To be honest, I feel there's some days where I think, oh, I don't feel like this tonight, but I've got to go in. And then, honest, hand on heart, I've never ever felt worse after a class. I've always felt 10 times better. So I've got that. I have to go back in and keep on doing it. But I totally understand. Like, you have to. It's how your life's flowing as well, isn't it? If it's fitting in, and you can make it to a class, great. But sometimes other stuff gets in the way. So I suppose you just gotta listen to your body, listen to your mind, and just go when you can go.
What I always probably still would do, but at least I'm aware of it when I do yoga classes now, is stop comparing my ability to get into a certain postural stretch to everyone around me.
That's
I'm
exactly
always doing
what
it.
I'm
I'm
going,
okay. These women in front of me are like, that's nothing to them. And but then there's no point, is there?
No, exactly.
As far as I know, they might have been doing it for 15 years or whatever. Doesn't matter really, does it?
Yeah, no,
just
completely.
Just try and do it at my own way.
And yoga's not. That's something that I try and really bring in White Wolf, is that non-competitiveness, that the way that I want us to be a really welcoming studio to absolutely everybody, and I think it's reflected in the client base that we've got, because it's so varied. Like we have 16-year-old lads coming along, we have 70-year-old women, and everyone in between, people with different disabilities and different issues, and nobody's bothered what anyone else is doing. And it's easy to say, because I know I've been in your shoes, turning up at a studio and thinking, oh God, everyone's, I can't do that. But really, it's about going within, and everybody is kind of in the same boat. Everyone's focusing on what they're doing, and no one's bothered what anyone else can get into. It's not gymnastics.
Or looks like, or how sweaty they are. Or,
it's not about looking good. It's about feeling it.
I think it's, if you get stuck in that comparison paragon, in any, if you're talking about anything, whether it's yoga or discipline or money, anything really, you're never going to win, because you're always going to compare yourself to the next.
That's it. There's no end, is there? You can't complete it. You just you look at somebody else. You'll do what you've had in your mind. You'll complete your goal that you're after, and then it'll be okay. What's next? And it's never ending. So I think that's maybe part of yoga, is just that self-acceptance, and okay, this is where I am. I'll keep going, I'll keep working on it, and I'll work at my own pace, in my own journey. I'll get to where I'm meant to be.
Have you seen it make dramatic differences in people's lives?
Yeah. Like we've had a few people who've come with like different illnesses, different like I say, disabilities and stuff like that, and kind of seeing how it's worked for them is so inspiring. And it's all their own work, and it's all their own commitment and dedication and their own body and mind that's got them there, but yoga kind of brings that out, which is amazing to see.
It's amazing. I suppose there's not many things that lots of people could be in a room and they could all be doing it for different reasons. You might get some people going there because they've maybe got a bit of sciatica and that's how they got into it. I suppose you might get someone else going there because they're stressed and they want to relax. It's so unique in that regard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not like your typical. It's not a sport, is it, or a dance class even. It's holistic, and people take from it what they need at that time, which is exactly right. Yeah, you can come for so many reasons and get so much out of it.
Another appeal for me, I think it's a bit of a sport as well. I know it's not a sport, obviously, but is that for that hour or 90 minutes or whatever, like 45 minutes as an express, that you kind of have to just sounds like the worst cliche ever at the moment, but like be present and not.
Definitely.
You can't affect anything else in the rest of your life. Like if you've had a stressful day, or you need to send that email, or study to get on seeing that one friend.
Yeah.
That's all going to be before or after. But while you're there, really, you just have to
completely. And
be there, don't you?
That's what yoga is, and we talk about the yoga meaning unity, and it's the unity of awareness between your breath, your body, and your mind. And when you've got that unity going on, all of those worries and concerns about the future and the past, they just dissolve, and then you're allowed this space, this time where you are in the moment. And it might only be an hour a week or whatever you can do it, but it's better than nothing. It's better than that constant chatter of mind going on and on. Just that little bit of space can really reset.
Do you think it is something that you've got to do X amount of times a week? To really get something out of it? Because I suppose if you're trying to get better,
Yeah.
And you're only going once a week, you're never really gonna.
Well, I would say that once a week's better than not going at all.
Yeah.
The more that you do it, the more benefits you'll feel, the more that you'll progress and open and strengthen. But I wouldn't want to put anyone off with, you know, unless you're coming 3 times a week, don't bother. You know, do what you can, because people have got busy lives, and if they can do 10 minutes a week, great. If they can do a bit more, brilliant. So yeah, I just think see how it fits in with your life, and yeah, whatever works for you.
Do you know what I noticed as well on your site and with your studio? It's that singularity of, it doesn't seem to me that there's like, well, we do a Pilates, or we do like aerial Pilates, or you can do like, and I'm not knocking places that do diversify and do different things, but yours is singularly a yoga studio, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does it even do hot yoga, or?
No, we don't do hot yoga. We're
And was that a deliberate decision by you to just be what it is?
At the time, when I set up, there was non-hot yoga studios. They were all hot, and I'm not really a fan of hot at all. So I didn't want to go down that route. So it was a deliberate decision to do non-hot yoga. Yeah.
So why aren't you a fan of hot then?
I think it, for me anyway, and I'm only talking about from my perspective, it's a distraction. The heat, it feels a bit overbearing, and the heat, I think the idea comes from, you know, where India began, where yoga began in India, and it's roasting. So doing yoga in the heat in India, I like it, but it's a natural heat. In a room that I feel a bit claustrophobic with it. The mats are slippy. You know, it was never something that I loved.
Come out and it's freezing.
Yeah. But this is just me, and I think it's great that we've got the option of it though in Liverpool, because some people absolutely love it, and if that's their way into yoga, amazing. But because it was something that I liked, I didn't do it.
It's a great point. It is something that, if I've never been to a yoga class, by the way, confession, but I've only ever done it on my TV at home. But if I was to go to a class, I'd be more inclined, maybe not now that I've met you in Phoenix, but I'd be more inclined to go to a hot yoga, because I suppose in my head, like, that's the way I try and train, is with that maximum intensity.
Yeah.
So I'd want to find that version of yoga, if that makes some weird sense.
No, it makes complete sense, and that's what you get from the hot yoga. Maybe it is more intense, and if that suits you, great. But I suppose it goes back to yoga being, it's enough as it is. It's enough the way it comes packaged. You know, I don't feel it needs a big whack on a heat on top of it for it to be beneficial. But if some people prefer that, amazing. Yeah.
Was it Bikram that we were talking about the other day? Is that the start of hot yoga?
He sort of like, so Bikram was a fella, and he
there are issues with Bikram.
Bit of a deviant. Yeah.
Yes. So he basically kind of got together a sequence of yoga poses, choreographed sequence, that was under his name, that he, I think, copyrighted, and that's Bikram Yoga, and it was done at a certain temperature. So Bikram will be the same postures every week, the same amount of time, you know, very like...
and he's like patented that sort of process. Can you do that? I see.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what you can patent.
Do it and get a few Rolexes and Rolls Royces.
Yeah. But yoga... Anyway, so he did that,
He did that, and then... I don't know if but then... to have a hot yoga studio, you don't need to be Bikram, you know what I mean? You can just have a yoga studio and have it the room hot.
Yeah, you've got to be Bikram to use his name, which I guess before this documentary came out, it was probably quite valuable to stick Bikram, because it was one of the...
Well, I sort of thought Bikram was hot yoga, like there was no separate...
I think he made hot yoga popular. Maybe. But it was his copyrighted sequence, and like you say, I think that name came with a bit of gravitas, and to do his teacher training cost a bomb as well, like well more than any others. But I think because people saw it and recognised it, they thought, oh, you know, it's a way in that way.
Got to fund his luxury car habit somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
What did you make of that when that come out? Did you go watch it straight away?
Yeah, but I'd already heard bits about him.
Oh, you'd heard the industry, okay.
Yeah. It's not something that I've delved massively into. Just know he was a bit of a weirdo. And then when that came out, I was like, yeah, I'm not that surprised, but maybe that's because I'd heard bits before.
It's just blatant abuse of power, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Like a cult.
Yeah, it is. It is like with Jonestown, like we were just saying.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
it's just
that,
like, especially
that power.
people, I guess you probably meet some people who come into class for the first time who are quite vulnerable as well.
Mm.
You know, when he's took advantage of
Yeah, and that's the worst of the worst, isn't it? To take advantage of people like that who are coming to you for support and guidance, and to see that and run with it. Yeah, it's the opposite of what yoga is really all about.
Yeah.
It's a complete polar opposite.
So even though you're this yoga Zen mistress, right? Like, you must still,
You are now,
like the rest of us though, right? There must be times in your life where things are getting a bit on top of you and you're a bit stressed. Is there some techniques that you use from what you've learned and from what you teach that where you'll just close yourself off? And
Yeah, definitely. And you know, by no means am I immune to all of that, the stuff that comes with life. A big one for me is meditation, and it's not something that I've been practicing regularly enough, but it's something that it's Lent starting today. I've made a commitment to every day to make sure that I do for this, like 40 days.
Yeah.
I'm gonna commit to a regular practice. It's something that I do when like you say, if I'm feeling stressed or I'm worried about something, I'll take myself off and do a bit of meditation and breathing. But I think the more that you can kind of incorporate into daily life, it helps to keep all that stuff away.
so what does that involve for you then, meditation? Because it's such a broad definition, isn't it? People say you can meditate in the queue when you're queuing up to pay for your shopping.
Yeah.
What does that mean for you?
For me, it means going into a room where there's no distractions, sitting there, closing my eyes and watching my breath for, it might be 5 minutes, maybe 10. I don't really at the minute do more than 10-15. But just, it's a little bit like the connection, breath, body and mind, where you can allow all of those worries to fade. It's like a quick 10-minute boost of that, just to connect to your thoughts, see what's going on, just take a step back and create some perspective, and also the slowing the breathing down, where it changes your central nervous system, the way that works from a fight or flight mode if we are stressed, to rest and relaxation. So it just helps just balance you out a little bit.
It's a good idea, that, doing 40 days. I might shamelessly copy you on that.
Yeah, do let me know how you get on with it.
Because I try and do it for like 5 or 10 minutes, well, but through Headspace, because I sort of still need the guided elements of it.
Yeah.
Not all the time, like now and again from the sauna and it's empty, I'll just try and do my own, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I couldn't do it in anywhere where there's distractions personally, like it'd be too difficult for me.
Yeah, I mean that's the reason, to be honest with you. They're probably very good and they work for loads of people, I'm sure, but the Headspace and the Calm app is another one. Like, for me, my main distraction is my phone, so it wouldn't make sense to
have your phone and have
that out.
Yeah.
Mine would be like, leave that in my car or leave it somewhere else out of sight.
Yeah.
But sometimes even if I can see my phone, I'll think I need to look that up, or I need to look at that email, or I need to respond, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do them apps shut everything else off when you?
Well, if you put your phone on silent and then usually your eyes are closed, so you're just listening to it. Then I know what you mean, the dichotomy of that's the thing that's causing the stress sometimes, or it can feel like it is. Then it's not that bad because you can't see like WhatsApp's dropping in or. Yeah. I know you're right though.
Because we're so distracted, and most of it is because of our phones, because everything's instant.
Yeah.
But it's like such a useful habit, but it's also easy to get out of, isn't it? And make excuses. What the thing I always, I haven't got time to do 10 minutes or 5 minutes this month. It's like, well, of course I've got time, but I construct reasons why I haven't got time.
You've got time. Everyone's got time to do everything. I always say it's like people go, I've got time. Like, you know, it's, for me, it's not about time. It's about priorities. If something's a priority, you'll do it.
Yeah.
Definitely. You know, you'll find time to do it.
Yeah.
And like, you probably almost the word meditation, I guess, overcomplicates the process, doesn't it? Really, because you've just described. I've just pictured you there, just sat down, just close your eyes, breathing.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. It sounds a little bit intimidating, maybe, doesn't it? The word meditation, and it might sound a little bit like, what's this hippie nonsense all about? But really, there's nothing to it other than sitting there. You can't do it wrong, you know. I think, and I'm guilty of that too. Sometimes I sit down and I'm like, oh, well, this isn't working because I've got too many thoughts. But that in itself is part of the meditation. You know, there's nothing that you shouldn't think about or you shouldn't feel. Just being is it. And just noticing what's going on in my mind.
Yeah, even that in itself is awareness of it, isn't it? Like self-awareness.
Because I approached it thinking that I should, my expectation of myself was within a couple of sessions I'd have this zen nothing in my brain. I'd be sitting there, you know, cross-legged. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Wearing like linen pants.
Yeah. Massive.
No shoes. Yeah. Bouncing around. Oh, Greg's meditating today.
And that was a good time in my life where I achieved that. But no, it's like, thoughts do come and go, but I suppose it's just not stressing over them and but letting them go.
Letting them come, letting them go. Don't block it. Don't stop it. Don't. Weird stuff comes into your head as well. Let it come, let it go. And I suppose it's learning to observe, and that is the meditation in itself. That like you say, expectation of nothingness. I don't think, unless we're like a guru or Buddha, for most of us, it's not attainable.
Do you have people falling asleep in classes sometimes?
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end, I love that. Yes, I love that. A bit of snoring at the end of the class.
Is that like job done?
Yeah. We do we always have a 5-10 minutes at the end of the class where we do shavasana, we call it, or relaxation, and everyone lies down, close your eyes, lights it off, blankets on, cushions around, talk through like a little body relaxation, and we go round and massage on the shoulders and on the head, lavender oil, and then that usually does the trick.
Sold.
She was gone out 5. Let's go. Do you have many instructors, or do you? At
the minute, no. There's just me and a lad, Chris, that has been working with us from the start. Yeah.
Is that a conscious decision because you still like to teach as well?
I still love teaching, and it is a bit of a conscious decision, and something that from the business side of things I've learned. Like when we first opened, I was looking at the figures not that long ago, and I had on about 5 classes a day sometimes. You know. 5 days a week and then a couple of weekend ones, and I've gradually sort of reduced the timetable and the numbers haven't really changed. So like say we had 5 classes, we might have got like 5 in each, say, and then now if I put a class on, we still sort of get the same numbers.
Interesting.
And from a business perspective, that, you know, it's not like the paying up teachers' wages and stuff like that. It didn't make sense for me to just stick loads of classes on and split the numbers. It made sense to consolidate a little bit more, and then I can teach when I want to teach, and then we still do have a couple of people that come in and do classes for us as well.
Had you run your own business before this?
Oh no.
So have you just had to learn the lessons running your own business? Because we were speaking about the food and coffee offering, weren't we, before we started recording and stuff? Yeah. Which I was still devastated it's not there, but
sorry.
You put it in good context why eventually you had to go, well, we can't do both.
So the whole, after going back to Camp and Furnace, started there, and I grew a bit of a client base from there, so I was getting decent numbers in a few classes a week. Did that for I think 2 years just to put the feelers out before making a massive commitment on, you know, taking a studio on. And then when I did decide to go for the plunge, I was also really getting into vegan food, you know, vegan cooking and vegan living and stuff like that, and I thought it would be nice to have a little coffee shop on the side of the studio. So that was what we did. We found this location, and big old ballroom it was. We split it, so it's like 3/4 studio and a quarter of it is the cafe on the side. When we opened, we had full cafe, coffee shop thing going on, and the yoga studio, and we had staff and all that, and that was like the premise, that was the blueprint for the business. Plus we had all those classes on as well, so we hit it full on with everything going, and it was exhausting, but it's going to be because it's a new business, so that wasn't a surprise or a problem. But as it went on, the cafe grew more than the yoga did, so we started having to get more staff, more stock, and it just basically completely took over everything. And I got involved in this business. I got involved in White Wolf for the love of wanting to share yoga. The coffee shop was meant to be a little bit on the side, but that wasn't what happened. It became like yoga was the bit on the side, and all the attention, all the energy was on this coffee shop. So we had to make a decision on where do you want to focus, and for me it was always going to be the yoga. So if I had to kind of let that go a bit and allow the yoga to grow.
It makes sense though, because people, I go to a coffee shop in the Village Hotel in the Wirral all the time.
Yeah.
And the coffee shop, right? It's got the Village Hotel's got a massive gym, and they have classes on and all that, like most gyms. But honestly, the coffee shop is always chocker. It's full of like middle-aged women. Chocker though, all the time, right during the day, when you'd expect it to be dead, because you think maybe people are going in for brekkie, lunch, you know, maybe after work.
It's like a social place.
Yeah, and it's and I speak to another staff in there. I've been going there for a while, and they say it's like the yoga and Pilates. They meet up. A lot of them meet up for a coffee before, sometimes and after, or they might have a coffee before. I'll meet you in the coffee shop at 10. Yeah. Classes are 10, and then have lunch after or whatever. Yeah. So it makes sense. Like you can see why you've got into it.
Yeah, and it was, and it kind of worked on paper. You know, it worked. Yeah. We were busy all the time. We got really nice reviews. That was lovely. I did enjoy doing it, but maybe being inexperienced and not really having a clue of how to do it, maybe that was the problem with it. But I felt like it was unsustainable for me to keep on going on trying to run essentially two businesses as one. It was just burning me out.
Yeah.
But maybe if I would have had the experience or a bit more of a clue. I
don't think you should. No, not at all. Because it's not one business, is it? It is totally different. You know, and I think there's a fellow who I always follow and talk about, and called Gary V, and he always talks about like double down on your strengths, triple down on your strengths. If you're not good at something, let someone else do it.
Yeah.
You do what you're good at. Yeah. Focus on that.
They were good at it, don't they? Sometimes.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah.
I think, you know what, I think if I won the lottery, I'll bring it back. Yeah, and I'll now that we've got that knowledge, and now that we know a little bit more where to go with it, and I wouldn't want to be now waiting on and doing dishes and pans and as well as all the teaching. It was a bit too much. So if I win the lottery, I'll organise that better, and I'll bring those seitan baguettes back.
It'll probably undermine you then as well, if you're waiting on tables getting stressed, and someone's about to have a class off you, they're thinking, I want you to chill me out, so you're getting stressed.
You're too modest to say, but it was ahead of the curve as well, wasn't it? Because we were saying again, now you've got like Murray, and obviously,
I love Murray.
Yeah, and just up from where the studio is now by Costco, there's a place open in Tranquil Evolution that's going to be doing their own vegan food.
There's just loads,
everywhere.
There's loads now. Yeah,
it's quality as well now. Murray, honestly, and I'm by no means a veg or a vegan, but Murray and I would say Mowgli are the two that I could go to, and I could comfortably not eat meat and not want it because it's that good.
They're my two go-to ones, like Murray. I'm always like that. Who's the top spot? But
have you been to Murray Albert Dock?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Boss, isn't
it? Yeah. I just love it. I just think those two are my absolute favourites. They're amazing.
And you don't miss. I mean, you don't anyway. But I don't like. I'm not sitting there thinking, I wish I would have got some meat. I could easily do it. It's easy because the foods are that good. It's so. They're so inventive with veg now, you know. Veg used to just be a little bit of a side thing, and the focus was on the meat, wasn't it? And now,
well, that's it. That's what we wanted to sort of put across in White Wolf Kitchen when we had that open. Was, look, vegan food does not have to be boring, and this is what you can do with it. And that's why I'm really glad that we did do it and that we gave it a shot and that it went down well, because that experience was amazing. But yeah, it was just. It's a shame, but it wasn't workable in the long run.
How long have you been vegan for?
I think it must be about 6-7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So deep in then. Have you seen Game Changers?
Yes, I have.
What do you make of it?
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought it was a brilliant
documentary. Did it resonate with like the way you felt since before and after anyway?
It did, yeah. I think I gave meat up first of all. I'm vegetarian first of all. This must have been 8 years ago, and didn't really feel that great on it. I was living in Mallorca at the time, and I was living on my own, so I'm working mad hours.
What were you doing out there?
I was teaching English to it was a mad one, like adults who were Spanish lawyers had this course going on, and they needed an English teacher to come over and do it, so it was just like a 6 or 7 month job, and I absolutely loved the job. People were brilliant, but I was out there on my own, and because the classes weren't like classes, so I wasn't getting into late. I wasn't eating properly, basically, is where I'm going with that. Not bothering to cook for me, even though I love cooking for yourself, it's not as fun, is it? So I wasn't eating right, and I felt crap really off vegetarian diet. And when I came back, I was chatting to friends, and I had a friend who was vegan, and she was like, "Oh, have you thought about giving up the dairy then?" And I was like, "Oh, vegan sounds a bit too extreme, you know, I don't think that's for me." But she put me onto a few documentaries. I watched them, and like that was it for me. That was it.
What the hell?
I watched Cowspiracy and Earthlings. I watched them too.
I heard of that one.
I think you know Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was. I think he produced it or something like that.
Okay.
It's heavy, but I watched them too, and I was like, I realised then I wanted no part in that industry, so I made the decision from then on, cut out all dairy, and started to feel loads better from it, and do feel great, you know.
So it was the dairy elimination for you, maybe?
For me, more than the meat, yeah. I mean, I was never like mad on meat anyway, but I think when I was in Spain, in Mallorca, I was eating loads of cheese and yogurt and loads of dairy because that was what was there, and that was quick. I think that was why I felt like my skin went really bad out there, and just felt like not myself. And it was when I cut out the dairy that I felt more of a difference than cutting the meat out. Yeah.
I feel like you've done it then before it became trendy. I feel like.
Yeah,
you've been a vegan for 7 years.
Yeah, it wasn't anywhere like it is now back then, and it was also it was a bit odd, you know, like you get a few eye rolls and stuff like that, and people not really getting what it was and what it meant, and even my own family and friends who didn't get it, and sort of why would you, I suppose, if it's not in your horizon, it's not in your like line of vision, then you may be a bit ignorant, not the right way, but you know, just not aware of what it's all about.
Of being to India and done yoga.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I remember doing that first course that I was talking about, and at that time I was full on just like eat meat, dairy, just, you know, had a regular diet, and them talking about the link between yoga and vegetarianism, and I was like, yeah, there you go, what cliche. And I remember thinking, that won't be me, and then cut to like 7 years later, I'm literally that walking cliche. But I don't kind of know, it just sort of went that way.
Was there a defining reason then? Were you all about, was it for you, what tipped you over the edge and made you go full vegan was animals and the industry and stuff like that, or was it more health? Or was it a bit of both?
I think when I cut meat out, initially I would have said, at the time I would have said it was more to do with health, but then when I cut it out, I started seeing things differently, and then I watched those documentaries, and the main reason why I cut dairy out, and the main reason why I've not gone back or not even wanted to go back, is the moral side of things, like the animals, for me. Yeah. Because
Joaquin Phoenix mentioned it again in his Oscar speech, didn't he? Did he? About the dairy industry, yeah, particularly.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, yeah. Like, people go vegetarian to protect animals, but they don't realise the dairy industry is largely worse.
Yeah, it's terrible.
The dairy industry is absolutely
it's as bad as, but you're right, I think generally there's not an awareness of that. Who knows why, but it's horrific. Like, horrific.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I just thought, it was an instant thing, like, I can't be involved in this, and I had the choice of, you know, where do I go from here, and I just thought, no more, for me, no more meat, no more dairy, and that was it. And I've always thought, you know what, if I fancy a cheeseburger, I'll go and have one, but I've just never fancied one.
Really? So you've never had a wobble in 7 years?
No, not Not like consciously. I think I bought on a plane. I bought a sandwich and it had a bit of cheese on it, and I didn't know. I was gutted. But no, that was like. So, there's never been. No, I've never thought.
You've never gone.
I've never snuck a quick bacon butty in. No.
Yeah. So do you drink?
Yeah.
So what? You got a giant hangover. You've been out with me and Greg, and you've round the bend hungover. What's your little go-to then? Because most of the time it's stodge, innit? Bacon, Maggie's.
Yeah. Well, you can do all of that. Like I love cooking, and pretty much every Saturday after the yoga class now I go home and for family and friends make basically a full English, but it's vegan. So we do like scrambled egg, but it's with tofu, and it tastes as good, or I would say better than regular scrambled egg. Sausages, or whatever you want to call them, but they're vegan.
Steady on, don't call them sausages, you'll get upset.
What else do we do? Do you ever have the big Boston breakfast in White Wolf? No. That was like our main. It was like kind of like a full English. We did tofu. It was all sort of Mexican-y themed. Tofu, seitan. We did black beans. It's like wheat gluten, so you make it. It's almost like a dough, like a bread that you make. You boil it. It sounds and it looks horrible when it's in its first form, but then you can do loads of stuff with it, so you can like slice it. It's like beef basically. It
just looks like a bit of steak, I thought.
Yeah, looks and tastes like steak. Yeah. So you can do all of that stuff, all of those burgers, full English kind of thing. You can do it all. Food is how you flavour it. You know, if you were to eat a piece of raw chicken, people say, "Oh, tofu's horrible." Yeah, it is on its own. But if you eat a bit of raw chicken, that's horrible too. It's how you flavour it and cook it. That's what makes something nice.
That's a good point. So, but I mean, let's be honest. You got a massive hangover.
Yeah.
You're not going to cook. What do you get?
Where do I go? Oh well, have you heard of Frostburger in town?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, they do. It's sort of like, well, it's fast food but vegan. So like McDonald's style. Burgers, milkshakes, chips.
It's a bit like Almost Famous was, isn't it? In terms of like overindulgent looking burgers with like amazing cheese looking stuff.
It's great. Yeah, there's them. There's a new one which I haven't tried yet, but it looks unreal. I think they're in the Baltic Triangle at the minute, called I just forgot it. Wholesome something.
Wholesome Junkies or something
like
that, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that does look really good.
So there is all that sort of stuff if you want it.
But I mean, so okay, so let's go to Frost then, because I've heard you're the second person who said this.
Yeah.
Amelia was talking about that on social media last week. But so are their burgers these impossible burgers that are made in labs, or are they using like mushrooms and stuff?
I don't know what they use. I don't know if they. It's not mushrooms. It'll either be seitan, which they might make themselves, or it might be the Impossible Burger. I'm not too sure. I don't know what it is.
Because I'd worry about them Impossible Burgers, you know. They're using like vegetable oils and things that are like made in labs which didn't exist like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
To put into a burger. So if you're talking from a health perspective,
yeah,
like our bodies evolve, let's be honest. We think we evolve quickly, but our bodies evolve very, very slowly. They really do. And if you're putting something brand new into our bodies and expecting you to just process it and digest it, it ain't gonna happen. So everyone's going out and eating these lab created burgers. There's the sort of health aspect. There's also the moral aspect in terms of like, if you're environmental aspect, if you like, if you're talking about protecting the environment, the planet and whatnot, if everyone starts eating these lab created burgers, then these labs have got to come up everywhere. These oils have got to get transported everywhere. Is it really better? Is it really better than getting an egg from your neighbour's free range chickens?
Yeah, but you're comparing two totally separate things.
I'm not. I think
it's better than like the standard dairy industry or meat industry. Yeah.
There's no dairy in a burger, mate.
Sorry, but you said an egg though.
No, I'm talking about like.
But so if you're comparing the two, like.
Yeah, I'm talking about like if you're going to take it to an extreme of going, you know, I still want to eat a burger. I want to be vegan. I still want to eat a burger. So I'm going to get these manifestations, if you like, of burgers. They're created in labs with these vegetable oils and all that.
So it's processed, like
heavily processed. Instead of just getting an egg. Like, do you see what I mean? Like, if you're doing it from an animal welfare point of view, then what's the harm in having an egg?
But an egg,
free range
an egg and an Impossible Burger aren't two compatible products.
I know. I'm talking about like taking it to an extreme. I'm talking about like, I know they're not the same food, but you know, if you're really committed and you're like, I want to be a vegan, but I still want to try and eat as many different versions of things as possible that I used to have when I wasn't a vegan. And the burger's one of them.
I don't think there's any argument in the fact that natural fruit and veg is more healthy than stuff that we're growing in a lab. There's no argument for that.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, lab grown meat, whatever you want to call those Impossible Burgers, seem to me, and I'm no expert on it, but they seem to be less negatively impactful on the environment than the grains that cows use, the land that cows use, the way that we treat the animals, the slaughter of them, the hormones that are in the cows that then we digest and we take on. I think if you're comparing the life cycle of a cow and everything that comes with it to growing a burger in a lab, I'd choose the one in the lab. But I'm not saying by any means that that's a great healthy choice.
I get that, and the comparison's correct. I suppose what you're saying, which we all have to agree with really, is that the issue is factory farming. Yes. The issue isn't necessarily meat. It's how we get there. It's how we get it to meat. And how we get it onto our plates. Factory farming is absolutely horrendous. Yeah. And that's what needs to happen. That's what something needs to happen about that for me.
I totally agree on that, and I would never want to take the approach of, even though I'm well into it, and I'm quite like, I'm all for it for me personally. I don't like the approach of being a preachy vegan, you know. It's not me, it's not what I'm about or my style. And I think that the fact that people are now having these discussions or even thinking about it is a huge step forward. And I read a quote or something the other day which was kind of saying that, you know, the way forward isn't about one person being 100% sustainable, but about millions of people being imperfectly sustainable. So, you know, if a huge group of the population start thinking and making maybe a bit more considerate choices, then those implications are going to be amazing on the whole environment. So
yeah, it's a great point, and you don't come across militant in any way, shape or form, by the way.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
It's funny though how like people
no bees, you can't have honey.
It's funny though how people are using what they eat to almost create an identity behind it. It's like,
define themselves.
It's like a lot of vegans now, like they'll have that in the Instagram bio.
Yeah.
Whereas you'd never have put what you're at in there.
No, it is. It's a club, isn't it? And
yeah, it is a club. It's a club. It's a movement. People want to be part of, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a negative one, is it? But unless it becomes them and us club exclusivity.
It's negative if it's militant.
Yeah.
Anything militant is negative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of that side of things.
Yeah, no, I think totally though in every walk of life that the best way is to collaborate rather than create, you know, divides between people. And if people can see each other's perspective and work together, I just think it's a lot more conducive to a positive outcome than I'm this, you're that, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've even me, believe it or not, I try and do like meat-free Mondays. Yeah. To be honest with you, I'll still eat fish. Like, where do you stand on fish?
I don't eat it.
So same reason.
Yeah, I mean, there's the moral side of it, the overfishing of the seas and what the implications of that on the rest of the environment. I love, like I said earlier, I love killer whales and all sea life, but the killer whale populations are struggling because of overfishing and what we're doing when we create those, you know, the fisheries, and they put loads of antibiotics into the water, the fish are disease, and then that disease spreads. So yeah, I'm not into it, for me personally.
Yeah, I wish I could be, because I love animals, but I'd struggle. I'm the biggest hypocrite going.
Well, maybe it's coming around to that kind of if you're having a meat-free Monday.
But that's what I was trying to say, what you're saying before, even that contributing slightly,
Yeah,
if everybody does that on a big scale, it's better than nothing, isn't it?
Because at this time last year, if me and you were just chatting about this, you wouldn't have been then saying any meat-free Mondays, would you?
No, not at all.
No, that's it. I think, it's amazing that to take that step, it's brilliant, and people shouldn't feel pressure or this or that. They should just kind of take it their own time, and
And it's easy now for me to do a meat-free Monday, because literally I go to Mowgli or Murray. Just easy.
Yeah, all right. That's cheating a little bit, like.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's next for you then? Are you talking before
retreats
about
as well? Forgot to mention retreats.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
You were talking before about. I just want to get into this subscription thing, because it's really interesting from a business point of view.
Yeah.
So are you going to do it like you're going to push the online thing and continue? Are you going to have like maybe levels of subscription where you can come to any class, you get an online login, that type of thing?
Yeah. So what we're doing online is I've got a White Wolf Yoga YouTube channel, which is all free, and that'll stay free, and it's on demand, and I'll keep adding videos to that every week. That's going to be there. But also a really exciting opportunity has come up recently in the last couple of months, where there's a company, the great tapiitlive they're called, and they've got all the facility for live streaming, and they've asked me to get involved in sort of partnershiping with them and pushing out live yoga classes, so you can do them wherever you are, whenever you are, and that's what's going to be on a subscription basis. I don't know the full details yet, but if anyone's interested, they can just drop me a message, and I'll send them all the details once we've got it. But we know that we're launching on the 16th of March, with a schedule from then on in, good few classes every day through the week. And we'll take it from there and see how it goes.
Will you stream your regular classes live or do separate?
They're going to be separate ones. Yeah. It'd be nice to do them in the studio, but it's just the logistics of a studio set up in the White Wolf studio. So I go somewhere else where there's not dissimilar to sort of this kind of thing, you know what I mean? It's all geared up for it. So that's exciting. That's just in the developmental stage at the moment, but I'm excited to see where we go with that.
And how about the retreats? Yeah,
so we're back on for India this year, going to Goa in November. This will be, I think it'll be our 5th. It's either our 4th or 5th, but I think it's 5th retreat out there. So we just, whenever we go, throw it out to whoever wants to come. You don't need to already be at White Wolf. You don't even need to be into yoga. You can just come along, and it's more of a holiday than a retreat. Some retreats are very regimented, and they're a bit like the courses where you get up at a certain time, you do this, you do that. This is like the most amazing place, like paradise, little retreat centre in the jungle on the beach. There's a couple of yoga classes a day. The food's amazing. You can do as much or as little as you want. Go there for a week, and we've pretty much sell out every time. I think we've only got like 2 or 3 spots left at the minute for this year, but that's always a massive highlight of the year.
So do you try and make it a bit like you were talking before about when you first went over to India and you lived and breathed yoga and there was no distractions?
Yeah.
Do you try and recreate that in a way?
A little bit, yeah, but less. I wouldn't have. It's not strict, you know. I think that experience is a different one, and it's not for everyone. Like it's not a holiday, you know, going out and doing that course. It wasn't a holiday.
5 wake up call.
Do you know when you're describing it? It reminds me of Kill Bill when she goes to see Pai Mei.
Oh yeah.
That's what it reminds me of, and like she's trying to eat the rice and all that, and she's doing the thing.
Yeah, it was a bit like that.
Like teaching you discipline, I guess, in a way as well.
Yeah. So I don't know how that would translate for people wanting a break.
Maybe not so much.
Yeah. I'd like to take people up to Rishikesh and do that one year with a group, but I think you'd have to know what you were going in for. This is a bit.
You'll be guinea pigs.
Okay. Yeah. Well, just set that up. But this Goa one, it's a lot more relaxed. You know, you can have a lie-in if you want. You can go to the beach bar if you want for the night. The yoga's there, and they're teaching. We use their teachers out there, and they're just incredible. So yeah, it's not as hardcore as the course, but it does take you away from everyday life. Like you don't really see anyone on the phones for a week, and you know, all of that kind of stuff. You can just give yourself a proper break from all of that.
And when's that again this year?
We go the 21st of November to the 28th or 9th.
And those details are on the site and on your Instagram.
Yeah, if anyone's interested, again, send me a message through Instagram or on the website. You can send us an email through that. Yeah, couple of spaces left.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Louise, thank you so much for coming in.
You're welcome, thanks for having me.
Phoenix as well for staying quiet.
I know, she was good.
Amazing, thank you.
Thanks very much.